Howdy, y'all. Welcome into Court Cowboy. Yeah, we're going to go over a few little recap, and then we're going to do a little bit of preview, and then a few picks. We got 3 picks here, but I'm coming in. I'm ailing a little bit here. I'm 1-2, and on the Wonderlic or the odds, I'm minus 190. Took 2 favorites. We'll go over them because I just want to talk a little bit about them. That Tiafoe match really kind of vexed me, perplexed me a bit. I was kind of watching, thinking, what's going on here a little bit. I know he was physically obviously having a problem. He had that 4th set medical timeout, and maybe he wasn't his best, his freshest coming in, but he looked a little bit lifeless. The body language, I thought, obviously he wants to win more than anything, but maybe he was just gassed a bit, and I expected some different things there. I think he kind of let Bublik beguile him to some degree, and then there wasn't a lot of adaptation. There wasn't a lot of adjustment going on, I didn't think. I mean, I imagine his box was advising him on all of this, but when Bublik is serving 48 aces and you got balls whizzing by you, and he had several games, maybe 4 or 5 games where they were 45, 50 seconds long. Bublik just bam, bam, bam. It's game over. And he wouldn't move back on the serve. I didn't feel like he just didn't adjust on the return. I just thought the returns were kind of killer overall, especially at the real crunch times. And in that 3rd set, obviously, was a big killer. He lost that 3rd set tiebreaker, 13-11, and I believe in that tiebreaker, he had 9 set points there. So that was such a backbreaker, such a killer. And he came back, but then that 5th set, it was just, and you could look on the other side, the flip side too. Bublik had 9 break points throughout the entire match up until the 5th set. And they finally cashed in on his 10th break point. So both guys were kind of missing some opportunities, but I felt like I just love the Tiafoe I was seeing at Halle, especially in that final against Fritz, a guy that was kind of free-flowing a bit, a lot of variety, a lot of adaptation going on, trying some different stuff, a lot of creativity. I don't know. He went up a guy, obviously, who's got a lot of creativity, does a lot of different things, a lot of unorthodox things at times, but with the droppers and who knows what else, but a little bit unpredictable. But so that was a tough one. That was a minus 130. So it was kind of tough just to see that. And he looked kind of lifeless after the match, Tiafoe. I don't know. He was just, again, probably spent physically is probably the most logical explanation. But I was hoping to have been a 5-set match. I just felt like, I don't know. There were so many opportunities blown. I thought he had more. Anyway, let's move on. I'll go to the second match, which was, I had Berrettini minus 160 over Dimitrov. Now, in this case, I was so great to see Dimitrov as the one-hander, the lone hope one-hander out there. And he looked so physically strong, looked quick, and he was aggressive. He came out just barn burners. I think he won that 1st set in 33 minutes. And I don't know, someone didn't tell Berrettini the match had started. He didn't hear the starting gun, so he was a bit on his heels there from the beginning. Those first 2 sets seemed to just be a flash. But give credit to Dimitrov. He was aggressive. He was taking it to Berrettini, and I didn't expect that Dimitrov slice to be as damaging, say, when he really broke down Minchik with that backhand slice. And you got to say the same thing happened with Berrettini. And Berrettini likes that strike zone, obviously, as anyone would, hip height and higher. But I thought he'd do better at taking it off his shoe tops. But I think he had 25 errors on that wing. So it was real neutralizer and big part of Dimitrov winning that match. But it was a good match. I think Berrettini came back, obviously, there. Won that 1 set, 7-5. But it was great to see Dimitrov win in that case. And then I had Djokovic as a favorite against FAA, and that obviously at many times could have gone either way, but really impressed as always with Djokovic's just mental strength. That steel mind of his is unbreakable. But he had that calf injury looked at in that 1st set. I thought he might be teetering a bit there at medical timeout, but wow, man, did he hold up physically, and he eventually broke FAA, I felt like, physically, especially that 5th set breaker. There was that one point that was 22 points there, or 22 shots, excuse me. And I think you could visibly see FAA crack a bit. And obviously, I was surprised to see Djokovic. You see a lot of time when he faces a guy who runs around the backhand a lot and has the big forehand, he'll make him honor that forehand a lot, like Rublev, or I've seen him break down Rublev on several occasions, just wearing out that forehand, not playing typically the way he's tactically always played, or guys play against these big forehand guys. But he was all over that FAA backhand, just relentlessly putting it in that corner, making him hit backhand after backhand. So that was a good tactic. Obviously, you want to stay on that wing, but I usually see him mix it up a bit and keep things honest. And he likes to obviously create big angles, but he was relentless over there. So that's a really impressive win for Djokovic. And then we know what's coming up next. Well, you could say, thinking on that one more point there, the second serve really determined that match to a large degree. I think FAA won 47% of his second serves, and Djokovic won 73% of his. So that kind of disparity, you see, it's usually going to be a huge factor, because I think FAA won 80% of his first serve points. So he's serving big, locating well, but once you got that second serve, it was a toss-up, and most of the time in Djokovic's favor. So just a huge win, and a huge, what a huge plus again. But now we know what's coming next is the Sinner match, and I really think Sinner's I think he's gonna come through there. I think it's 6-5 all time. Sinner beat him last year, obviously, in the 2025 semifinals at Wimbledon, but Djokovic did win the last meeting in Australia, the Australian Open, at the semifinals. So I think he's confident. He has a blueprint to beat Sinner, even on the grass here. But I think it's going to kind of be both guys looking to exploit the other one's forehand. Obviously, Sinner's always takes time away from Djokovic. I think that's going to play a key role in this grass matchup, is just taking the ball early on the rise and depriving Djokovic of the time he likes. But I think Djokovic, he's going to try to get Sinner on the run with the angles on the forehand. And I think Sinner's just going to try to blast Djokovic's forehand. We know Sinner's got the advantage in spin, speed, but I think it's going to be a match of cross-court forehands. I could be wrong, but I think that's going to play a key role, obviously, on how well things are. And then I think another thing to watch is Sinner's deuce court serve. He likes to take guys really wide on that deuce court serve. So does Djokovic step into the court and just try to block it early? Does he stand back and loop it? Does he do both? How do those points shake out in the end? And is he able to hold his own on the deuce court there, Djokovic? I think that's going to be huge. Obviously, how well Sinner serves is going to be a big determinant as well. But I would really like let's get McCoy on here as we're moving into pick land, because I'm going to pick several here. Time for McCoy. Let's get up and ride. Let's look at these matches from the saddle. So as I mentioned, we're 1-2. We're down 190 in Wonderlic. So I like Fritz. I think I like Fritz. I've liked Fritz from the beginning. I picked him to get to I believe, to the semis. And so this is what he's got to take care of to get there. He's got Zverev in his way. And I think Fritz is going to come through. He's only minus 130, but I'm going to take Fritz minus 130. Now, look back at that French Open final. I think, unfortunately, Cowboy didn't have the chance to really press Zverev in that situation and make him play a lot of real pressure clutch points. But anyway, that's an aside. But I'm going to take Fritz. And then we got Ferry and Cowboy. I think, man, Cowboy, really impressive against De Minaur. Gosh, he's getting it big on the forehand. He's got the big kick serve. But Ferry's I don't know, maybe he's riding high. He's the English hope, of course. And England came through in the World Cup. Maybe there's some good mojo going on in England right now. I'm going to take Ferry plus 230. It's a bit of a arbitrage play, because I think it should be a little bit tighter, but I'm taking Ferry. I'm going to take a flyer on Ferry. And then we got, who we got next? Oh yeah, we got the Sinner Joker. Now, I like Sinner in this match. I do a lot. I think he's a clear favorite, but the odds are really, I thought maybe Sinner would be a minus 300, 325, but he's minus 470. Man, I got a hard time taking that. And Djokovic is plus 325. And it's almost an arbitrage play if I, yeah, wow. That's a tough one right there. Is this Djokovic's last stand? I can make myself a believer if I can get behind that. This is his last stand. I'm just going to take Djokovic here. Let's take him plus 325. It's a bit of an arbitrage play, as I say, but I think Sinner is the clear favorite. But I think Djokovic, this could be his last stand. Maybe this is his last. If he gets this last Grand Slam, I mean, what can you say about the guy that you haven't already? But yeah, I don't know. He's going to have to overcome, probably, he's going to be at a physical deficit to, I know he's been on the court a lot longer than Sinner has, and Sinner's had a pretty easy draw, really. But let's go with that. All right, we'll round it up. The picks are in. Let's see how we do. We'll come back. We'll pick another semifinal. I know we'll pick the final, of course. But Court Cowboy is riding strong, riding high. It's late here in the Philippines, so I'm just making this pick late at night. But I am of a sound mind. Let's hope. We'll see you in these picks. And we'll see you next time. Enjoy the matches. It's been a great tournament. Can't wait to see Sinner Djokovic in these other matches. I can't wait to see Ferry Cowboy. Let's see how that plays out. We'll see you soon. Have a good night. Night.